Hello everyone. Today's topic we are going to discuss about Lean Agile implementation and how Scaled Agile, one of the most prominent framework across the world, brought in this Lean Agile implementation mindset in the form of force of Lean and how we can actually get benefit out of it and how the actual house of Lean itself we will be taking a look at it. While the base of this today's discussion is also clean, most of the pictures references were taken across the internet and from various sources. Let's get started with the topic. The most dangerous phrase in the language is we have always done it this way. This is what happens in many organizations, in many companies. So whenever we try to bring in something new, whenever we try to do some new way of working or new thought process, new ideas, this is the most common statement we hear across the industries, across the domains, across the sectors. So if the same thing is continuing, we might not be able to go ahead from the current stage or current phase where we are currently. Let's suppose if we have 20% of the customer base, if we keep on continue doing the same way, we might still continue the same 20% of the customer base. If we have to increase, if we have to go ahead, if we have to improve our way of working, we should start coming out of the box and we should start thinking from the different thought process, different mindset altogether. The same old thinking will end up giving the same results. So to start with, what is the lean? So lean is like try to simplify, try to make it as simple, as smooth, as effective without any delays, without any gaps, without any unnecessary value, unnecessary steps, unnecessary delays, unnecessary process or overheads on top of the existing things. So they could be currently implemented products, implemented solutions, implemented way of working within which we can still try to improve and can still try to optimize the overall process. That is what in simple words we call that lean. So the Toyota as one of the best example, wherever we go from the lean perspective, the Toyota is one of the best reference or the example which we will be discussing. Volvo is another best example where they brought in the different approaches, different ways, different units, different entities in building up their bodies of the Volvo buses and how they brought in this is another example. So if we look at the different another examples, right? So one of the US airline, so they used one olive in their salad, which they serve in their airline, and they were able to save $40,000 per year. Right? The customers haven't even noticed it, and whereas they were able to save $40,000 per year by just reducing one single olive within each and every salad. The same way, another US airline they started cutting the lemon into 16 pieces instead of 10 pieces. So the lemons which they give regularly with the drinks, the hot drinks or cold drinks within the airline, they started cutting into 16 pieces, and this helped them result in $500K per year. Very small changes they did. Still, they were able to show some profits or show some savings, not the profits, the savings from the implementation perspective. And the most another popular example is the US Postal Service. They revised their parcel delivery route structure, which resulted in saving the delivery timelines as well as the fuel expenses. Right. We all know that in US we have free ride. How in India we have free left, US they have free ride. So any vehicle coming to nearing to a junction, a traffic signal, the vehicle can go freely towards their right without stopping, without waiting at the traffic signal, provided there is a clearance. Right? So the US Postal Service, what they did is they realign their delivery routes. Starting point, ending point is same, the US Postal Office, whereas they realign the delivery structure when which route or the vehicle should be going. and how they will be covering all the addresses, all the routes, and will be coming back to the same postal office. They were able to reduce or improve their time for delivery as well as the fuel cost as well. So these are some various examples across the world. Now, if we start looking within the Indian context as well, there are n number of examples, n number of references within the lean implementation perspective. So one of the thing is like passport application process. So I prefer taking most of the government related or end-to-end or the generic day-to-day realistic examples. That way, it will be easy for us to get connected with, and it will be easy for us to be thinking in why when they themselves can be doing, why not us? Why can't us? What is it is stopping us? So if we start looking at the passport application process, so they will say that hey, the first time earlier when we used to apply for the passport, we have to go to the office in person. We used to stand in the queue, fill in the manual printed form, and then submit all the documents, get the physical verification done. Then so all the documents will be sent to your home address, get the police verification done, and get the documents submitted back to the passport office, get it verified, reviewed, approved, and printed and sent to you through courier. Right? The same end-to-end process for me, it took 3 months when I applied my first passport. The next time when I applied for a renewal of the passport, the same process, it took just 3 days, which means by end of third day, I was able to get the passport handed over. Now, the government is thinking, can we try to get the passport handed over on the spot? If everything is clear, if everything is done, if everything is validated, then and there on the spot. So, none of the process, none of the steps, none of the validations, anything is compromised or anything is cut short. Still, the way the end-to-end flow, end-to-end implementation is happened, that is what they. The same way, FASTag, the toll gate payment system in Indian context. Right? So initially, whenever we used to go cross the toll gate on a highway, we have to wait, we have to pay the cash. Then the card payment system came. Then the UPIs came, like Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm. All these UPI systems, payment methods came. Now the government started bringing FASTag. Majority of the vehicles within India is now having a FASTag tag or associated, which means we just need to cross the toll gate. Automatically, the QR code will be scanned and the amount will be deducted from your account. Now, as a next step, the government is starting to bring in the geo positioning of the vehicle, and through which they will start directing the toll gate payments, which means the toll gates might be gone away as per the government of India announcement. The toll gates might be gone away, and all the vehicles, the payments, toll gates will be collected by the geolocation position of the vehicles itself. Like that, there are lots of references, examples within the Indian context or within any context as well, right? We just need to look at it, how it used to be versus how it is now, and they will be able to get a clear idea. Right? And there are lots of examples, tons of examples from Indian language as well. Right? So they handling, upgrading the tracks helped us improve the speed of 135 kilometers. That will help reduce the travel time. That will help reduce the commute time from one station to other station or from source to destination. Lot of such things, which is helping the Indian railways as well as the passengers as well. You know, coming to the Toyota, right? So we started the discussion of the lean with the Toyota. So when we start looking at the Toyota, Taichi Ono, so he's the founder of Lean, or he's the head, he's like a godfather of Lean, we can consider. So what's his statement in his words is, when the problem is clearly understood, improvement is possible. Yes, first we need to understand, we need to realize there is a problem, and we need to start understanding it, and we need to improve how we can improve, how we can focus on it, how we can get benefited out of it. Again, the same reference, right? Make only what you need in the quantities you need when you need it. That is what we call it as a just-in-time delivery or just-in-time production. So that is where the Toyota production system started. Right? So what makes the goal is old habits and methods which prevent us from changing our thinking and behavior. Right? Example, the workplace management or the leadership, any case, any company, any organization which we will be facing. So for that, what is that the Scaled Agile Framework is bringing is, they brought in the House of Lean by taking the lean concepts into consideration, and they constructed a house with the roof as value, as a top of house of lean, and leadership as a foundation or a base. And there are four pillars: respect for people and culture, flow, innovation, and relentless improvement. So on the right hand side, I have this Agile Manifesto listed. So you may get a doubt or a clarification or a query. What is this Agile Manifesto has to do with softly? We will get back to this once we complete all the slides or all the topics related to this house of me. So let's get started taking a look into the house of me. Any house, when we start with, we will start with laying the foundation. So let's start doing the same thing by taking a look at the leadership as a context from the house of me. This is what happens many cases, right? Again, this is a Dilbert jokes. Most of the context, most of the references I could be bringing was from the Dilbert or some of the internet online sources. So, leadership, anytime they should be leading by example, they should lead the change, they should drive the transformation, they should own the transformation and help assist the associates who are working on the implementation across the organization, across the products or the module solutions, applications which we are working. They should be the one who should be stepping ahead, who should lead the change, who should drive it up, right? So if this is how the leadership is responding, or this is how the leadership is being, that itself could be a starting point to start failing the transformation, right? So there are four steps, four simple steps how we can bring in this leadership culture or the mindset. Is first step is change your mindset. Here you are in the sense the leaders or the leadership or the management who is supposed to drive the transformation, who is supposed to own the implementation, or who is supposed to implement the overall product solution as such. They should start changing their mindset. And then they should lead by example. They should make sure the environment is safe for anyone to bring their ideas, views, opinions, thought process, or they should build a culture of leadership. They should be giving the sense of willingness, or they should be bringing the psychological safety to the teams, to the associates, so that anyone can feel open up and share their views, opinions, feedback, any challenges, issues they are facing. Otherwise, the leadership won't be able to help. Then we are at the starting stage itself, we are at the foundation itself, we might start getting the cracks without having a strong foundation. So what is that? When we start changing the mindset, it is like from the project mindset, we should start looking at the product mindset, right? So the project mindset how talks about like a upfront define, right? With the scope, with the limited time, with the limited budget. Whereas now we should start looking at the product mindset. What is it? We should start looking at the business metrics, how we can improve the user adoption of retention, or how we can improve the revenue, and how we can improve the cost savings per feature, and how we can still give value to the actual customers who are paying for our products, who are ready to consume our solutions or applications or the products. Right? That is what we should start bringing from the product mindset perspective. This should lead to less waste, more creativity, and more releases. So that is what again the product mindset is all about, right? Rather than doing a one-time big bang release, we are continuously, incrementally implementing the solution, the product, and still each and every version, each and every release, we are trying to make it a effective, valuable, working product, working software to the end customers. The leadership should take this task or own this of transforming the teams rather than just from a task team, just doing whatever is being assigned to or whatever is being asked to. The team should start understanding why they are doing, what is it they are able to do, they are supposed to do, and how is it going to help the end users, the customer stakeholders, once it is deployed to production or once it is released to end users, once it is delivered to the market. Once the customers, once the teams start understanding it from the customer's perspective, that is where the team will be able to make the wonders. Right? So this is a clear differentiation from the task team to a product team, where the team is totally owning the product, what they are working, and they are constantly, consistently focusing on how can they will deliver value, how effectively they can give more benefit, more value to the end users, to the customers in the shortest possible time. Right? So this is the responsibility of the leadership. We discussed about the leadership, the foundation base of the house of Lean. Now let's start taking a look at the pillars. There are 4 pillars. The first pillar is respect for people and culture. What is the respect for people and culture? Let's take a look at it. Yes. Again, there is another joke from the Dilbert context perspective, right? So, first step, any organization should start respecting their people, should start respecting the culture, right? Here, the people comes in 3 different perspectives. The teams or the team members or the associates who are working on the implementation, or the people, the business associates, the business owners, the product owners, product management, the architects who are helping the teams to deliver, implement, they are also people, and the actual customers, actual end users who are making use of our products, the solutions which we're developing, they are also people. So we should start respecting each and every context of the people and how we can get benefit out of it. Right? So if we start pushing as many products, as many features, as many functionalities, as many modules within our product, it might not be able to help or give much benefit, much value to the customers. So we should start understanding the end user's perspective. It's a simple example, right? So we one of the requirement might have been like to replace these tires. So the team might have did it, but none of them considered or none of them thought to take care of this tire, the additional tire which is provided along with the vehicle. So what is the respect? What is the value? What is the benefit the actual customers are going to get? As per the specifications, we delivered a vehicle with 4 wheels plus 1 additional wheel. But how is that additional wheel, is going to help the customers once we release it, once we deliver to the market? These are the small things which we should start thinking from the end user perspective. Many times, our stakeholders, the product management folks, might be coming with lots of ideas like this. We might be having enough time, enough budget, enough associates, enough resources, everything available. But even before starting that, take a look at what is your user needs. If your user is expecting only these 5 features, understand that and deliver only those things. What is a need? What is a necessity for us to push these many features, these many functionalities, when the end user is not even ready to make use of it, when the end user is not even ready to consume it? And how are we respecting our customers or end users? At the same time, how are we respecting our teams or the team members, associates who are working on the implementation? Right? Both the aspects of people are getting impacted without these considerations. we should start taking this into consideration, and we should take it into improvement, how we should be bringing up the respect for people in all the possible aspects, and respect for the culture as well at the same time. Right? So each customer will be having different perspective. Right? That's the first step. We should start understanding the end user's perspective, and we should start considering it while we start defining our features itself, while we start building our ideas, building a thought process to start implementing the product or the feature, application, solution, what are the context it is. Right? This is what we should start taking into consideration from the first pillar, respect for people and culture. Right? The other aspect or other angle of it is the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Right. So nowadays, each and every organization started considering or bringing up the diversity heights, diversity, equity, and inclusion in different aspects. Right. So what is that? Is again, this is also one form of respect for the people and respect for the culture as well. Right. The diversity, equity, and inclusion. So just a couple of pictures. One of it is like these two turtles, they were able to enjoy their ice cream, but how about this crocodile? So they brought a selfie stick so that even the crocodile can enjoy the ice cream. Same way, another picture reference is there are different animals in this context. Right? Oh, when they are about to take a picture, they are not able to include everyone. So what they start doing? Everyone was taken a different thought, and they were still included, they were still considered, they were still having that belongingness or part of the team or the togetherness. This is what we should start bringing, this is what we should start considering from diversity, equity, and inclusion, or this is what indirectly we are calling or we are considering it as respect for people. Right? We should let each and everyone bring their views, opinions, thought process, and how it is going to help us. That is what we should start taking. Okay, so that is all about the first pillar of Lean, respect for people and culture. Now, the second pillar, flow. Majority of the cases, when we start looking at this type of pictures, we'll assume, hey, this should be from the Kanban perspective. Need not be. Why only for Kanban? For any of the way of implementation, we should start looking at it. Right? How smooth, how simple, how quick we are able to move from one end to the other end of the road or the junction or the flow in our typical agile terminology, agile approach, from the backlog stage to the done state or completed or accepted or even the release state. How quickly, how effectively we were able to do that, that is what the flow is all about. When we start working on the implementation, we might be already released to the production. Still, it is not end. It is not the final stage. As we looked at a couple of examples in the beginning of the presentation, different perspectives of Lean, like the passport processing, the FASTag or the UPA payments, or from the US Postal Service, like lots of different examples. Right? They're already there in the production. They're already available for the customers and users. Still, they were constantly, consistently focusing on how they can improve the end user satisfaction, how they can deliver more value, more better effectiveness to the end users, to the customers. That is what the flow is all about. Right? Most of the cases, when we start implementing, when we start working on any project or a product or any application solution, we might be assuming, hey, once we start, we will be directly using the code. That is not the case any point of time. Any of the product, any of the solution, any of the application, we might be going back and forth. We might have to revise, readjust, re-strategize. Lots of back and forth discussions could be happening. Right? That is what we should be, how constantly we are keep on checking our ways of working and how we are bringing improvement to the way of working is nothing but the flow. Right? Now let's move on to the third pillar, innovation. Innovation has very crucial role in any organization, in any implementation as such. Let's take a look at it. Again, another Dilbert joke to bring in the context, right? So we are saying that hey, we are open for the ideas. We are the floor is open for innovation, for ideas. But if we are not allowing, not encouraging, not bringing that belongingness, as we discussed in the first pillar, respect for people and culture. Right? If you are not letting your teams, your team members, your associates share their ideas, views, opinions, or if you're not taking the feedback either from your customers or from your in-house associates, the team members, you won't be able to get more ideas. You won't be able to innovate more. You will still continue in the same way of working. Right? So most of the organizations start doing the brainstorm as a innovation exercise or activity to capture different ideas and to start going through that. So again, this is one of the cartoons just to bring in how the different ideas of the brainstorming might happen in the companies, in the organizations. Again, just another quote saying that, hey, we will say that, hey, we will open the brainstorming session, but what are the ideas the associates bring up is, hey, it is not relevant from our context, or it might not even work, or your idea is not making any sense. It might not give value to the customers. It is not able to benefit. It might take more time to implement. It could be anything. If you start giving that sort of feedback at some point of time, no one will open up. No one will be bringing their ideas. No one will be bringing their thought process itself. People might become quiet. People might become calm. They will say, hey, whatever we bring the ideas, they're not respecting, they're not allowing us to speak, they're not allowing us to share. Then why to speak? Why to think about it? Let's continue our way of working. That's it. That should not be the case any point of time. If in case we are focusing on the innovation, or if in case our idea is to foster innovation across the organization, we should start understanding the end user's perspective. Right? Again, going back to the first pillar, respect for people and culture, we touch base the understanding the perspective of the end users. Right? We might be assuming we we are best developers, or we are best architects, we are best designers, we are best implementation across the world. We might be doing it, but your end users might be having different ideas. Your end users might be making use of it in altogether in a different way, right? So until unless you go and talk to your customers, you go and get interacted with your actual end users, you might not be able to understand their perspective. How you want to do it, how frequent you want to do it, it is up to you as an organization. But you should have that innovation. You should start having that understanding the end user's perspective. It could be a simple Google form to capture the feedback, or it could be a direct interview or interaction session discussion with the interviews. Or maybe you can start reviewing the comments or the feedback you are getting as part of your product, or as part of your application app in your Google Store, Google Play Store, or in Apple iPhone Play Store. Right? Bringing back that Tata example here, right? So innovation starts, or innovation, we will be referring the Tata example in any discussion, in any conversation, right? So what is this, the Tata Sumo, right? So one executive or associate, his name is Sumant Mulgokar. Sorry if in case I am spelling it wrong or pronouncing it wrong. So this executive, this associate, so he started interacting with the truck drivers directly, going and talking to them without telling that, hey, I'm from a Tata, I'm an executive from Tata, without setting a context, or without revealing his identity, he used to interact with them in a casual conversation, and he used to start capturing the pain points, the issues, the challenges the truck drivers used to face. Those are the ideas, those are the inputs, those are the feedback, those are the pain points, challenges. He used to bring it back to these teams, and they started innovating. They started addressing these pain points, challenges, and issues. That is why Tata started naming the one of the vehicle by taking his name as an example reference as Tata Sumo. What is a best example than about this? Right? And when we talk about innovation, it need not be a $1 million project. It could be as simple as possible as well. Right? Or if we take a look at this example, right? So what is this billboard or what is this advertisement is showcasing? Post-COVID era, one of the Australian airlines, they brought up this ad stating that, hey, we started flying from Australia to US. Simple, effective way of, innovative way of doing it. They haven't spent thousands or billions of dollars for doing this ad or bringing this idea, innovation, right? It should come from the individual's mindset, individual's perspectives. That's where the leadership plays a key role in letting the teams, letting the associates bring up their views, ideas. Right? Again, I have a best example for innovation. In one of the college, university, right? They have a parking for the bicycles, but they realize that in the hot summers, we know how the cycle seats will be hot in the mid afternoon when the people start using the bicycles to ride, go back to their homes or to their hostels. So they came up with this simple, innovative way of covering the bicycle seat so that it won't get heated. It will be stay safe either from say the sun heat or from the rain. Another example which recently got published in LinkedIn is the tiles, triangular tiles. As people start working on those tiles, the electricity will be generated. Oh, this idea was improved or implemented in 30 countries across 200 projects. Right? How simple, how effective it could be for the countries or for the locations where they are facing the power crisis or they're having challenges, issues with generating the electricity. And it is a much more cost effective and it's a much more natural and beneficial product for the implementation idea as well, rather than going for a thermal or a water hydro electricity. This is one of the best way of generating electricity as well. Right? Let's move into the fourth pillar of House of Lean, relentless improvement. Don't get worried about looking at the term. It is simply saying that, hey, constantly, consistently, we should be keep on bringing in the improvement from our implementation, from our thought process perspective. This is what could be happening with the teams, with the associates, with the individuals working within the organizations. They might get used to one way of working and they will keep on continue doing the same way of working, even if someone brings up new ideas, new innovations, new thought process, they may not even let others speak, others pitch in their ideas. So as we touched base in the previous pillars, respect for people and culture, flow, innovation, yes, that is where those three pillars should start bringing up the ideas, views of how we can constantly, consistently improve our way of working. Right? So now by the end of the discussion, are we getting the connect or the context of how each and every pillar is interrelated within the House of Lean? Yes. The way how all the pillars should be coming together to form a house. This is the same way how the Scale Agile is bringing up all the four pillars and how they are showcasing it from the implementation perspective. Yes. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated constantly, continuously. That is what we should be constantly doing. Now, at this point of time, none of the company across the world can be saying that, hey, I will be the top one company for the next 10 years. Whatever the domain, whatever the industry, whatever the sector it is. No company might be able to do that statement like that. Because lots of new startups, lots of companies, lots of new ideas, new ways of working are coming up, and each and every company is in a constant race to see how they can improve their way of working and how they can still deliver value to our customers, to the end users. Yes, this is what our plan might look like. But once we start implementing, once we start working, this is what it might end up looking like. Right? So we might start assuming we can reach the goal or the goalpost or the flag here by making use of the cycle, our current way of usage or the way we're working. But once we start journey, we realize that we might not be able to continue using the same way, same approach, same thought process. We may have to run, we may have to climb, jump, we may have to sail the boat, we may have to jump, we may have to climb the ladders, lots of things. How quickly, how effectively, how consistently, how regularly we are able to improve our way of working, that is what will help us lead towards our achieving our goal or achieving our target. Right? That is all about the four pillars of force of plane. Now let's quickly take a look at the value. What is the value we are talking about? How quickly, how effectively we can deliver value to the customers. Right? The epics or the initiatives or the stories should be able to deliver value. And we should start bringing in value and deliver constantly, consistently in an incremental way of working. Right? In the beginning, we discussed about the project mindset to product mindset, and that is the responsibility of the leadership. Right? The same way, when we start delivering value, we should start focusing on how effectively we can deliver value. So this might go back to our release planning or prioritization from the product management, from the product owner's perspective, or from the business executive's perspective. How quickly we can get the working software end-to-end product or end-to-end application, which is completed until at that point of time can be showcased, can be released to the customers, or can be taken the feedback from the end users and how we can bring in the improvement in the subsequent cycles in the shortest possible time. That is what, how quickly, how effectively we can deliver value. Right? So there's one of the quote stating that, hey, don't find customers for your product. Don't start building the product and then start finding the customers, which many of the organizations could be doing. What instead we have to do is find the products which your customers will love. Fine. So first step is to identify who is your end users, who is your customers you are targeting to, and start capturing what is the products they would like to see, what is the problems they would like to get resolved, what is the improvements they would like to get achieved in their day-to-day perspective. And by taking that as a base, we should start building our product, and that is when we can deliver value to the customers and users. Right? So again, another Dilbert joke or a quotation, right? So this should not be way how we will be delivering value, right? Or we are saying that, hey, we plan something, we should plan something so that which everyone wants to buy. No. Start understanding what is your end users, what is the customers want. Then build it there. That's when indirectly your sales will increase, your net promoter score, your customer satisfaction, your onboarding of your customer retention, whatever it is you would like to achieve, you will be able to do that. A small example again from the Indian context. So people outside India might not be aware of the Zomato, but Zomato is like one of the food delivery app. So we can place an order for any restaurant, any dish, whichever is available or suitable, and we can place an order. And Zomato is an app which will coordinate with the restaurants and will be getting the food order items delivered to our household or to the location which is specified. So why are we discussing about this Zomato context here? By looking at this picture, we are able to locate that this is the representation of the Apple iPhone, not the latest iPhone, but the one of the Apple iPhone. The moment Apple released their new iPhone in the US, within the next 6 hours, Zomato as a company, Zomato as a product, they came up with this ad by taking the Apple iPhone cameras as a reference. They came up with this idea. They came up with the ad. They released it to the customers. It is not just designing the ad and releasing it to the customers. Right? What is that? What all the things might have gone through in the back end within that 6 hours? The finance team should be coming up with the profit loss or how many customers we can allow this order or the deal, or how long we can allow it. Is it just for one time a customer or throughout a day, any number of orders, or for the first 500 customers? What is that? Or how is our profit or loss could be looking like by looking at this offer once we release it to the customers? The marketing team should start thinking how they can bring up this ad concept and how they can start pushing it to the customers. The actual implementation team, the agile teams or the delivery teams, the scrum teams, which we talk about, who will be doing the actual implementation, they should start building up the offer or the code base, and they should start validating it, and they should start integrating it as well, and it should be ready to be deployed to the production, which means it should be pushed to the already existing customers app, the new offers, new deal. Right? And not only this, the compliance team also should be in parallel checking with their compliance with the things, so that Apple shouldn't be filing a lawsuit against Zomato for using their iPhone camera picture as a reference. Right? All the thoughts and process should be handled, should be gone through before coming up with this idea and release to the market, release to the customers. So Zomato as an organization, they were able to do within the 6 hours of time frame, right? So when they were able to do, with bringing all the end-to-end context into consideration, we also can start thinking how effectively, how quickly we can start thinking of the end-to-end implementation, end-to-end release of the product, which could be valuable, which should be working, which should be integrated, and which should be delivering some benefit to the end users. Right? So that is what the House of Lean is all about. Now, coming back to the House of Lean versus Agile Manifesto, what is this? Is the interconnection between the House of Lean and Agile Manifesto. If you look at the Agile Manifesto, the Agile Manifesto starts that we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. Through this work, we have come to value. So even Agile Manifesto is also talking about value. The same thing, even the House of Lean was talking about delivering value. Right? So let's take a look at it. The first Agile Manifesto statement says about individuals and interactions over process and tools. So the same is represented in the House of Lean in the form of respect for people and culture. Right? Then the working software over comprehensive documentation. As an organization, as a team, as we are focusing on constantly, consistently delivering working software, the same thing is represented in the form of flow. How quickly, how effectively we can deliver working software by identifying the delays, gaps, necessary process, unnecessary steps. That is what the flow is all about. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Right? So that is what we discussed about innovation, the third pillar of philosophy. How we understand end user's perspective, how we deliver value, how we start developing the products, the application solutions, or the features, functionalities which could be beneficial to the end users. That is what the Agile Manifesto is also stating in the form of customer collaboration or contract negotiation. Then the fourth pillar, that's relentless improvement, is getting mapped with responding to change or following the plan. We are still trying to follow the plan. We are still trying to achieve the final vision, goal, target, or the delivering value of the customers. However, we are constantly, consistently checking how we can improve our way of working and how we can go ahead in achieving your vision, achieving your goal, achieving your targets, or achieving your plan. That is what the relentless improvement is all about. Now we got an idea how the Agile Manifesto and House of Lean are interlinked or connected. So the same Agile Manifesto, the House of Lean brought in their own perspective, their own way of representation, and it can be interlinked and connected as well. So this is what we discussed initially as well. To achieve that Lean Agile implementation, Lean Agile thought process, we should come out of that fixed mindset and we should start bringing up the growth mindset, how it is going to happen, or how, if in case we fail at one point of time, we won't be, we need not be, we might not be failing the next time as well. Or if option A is not working, we have another 25 alphabets in English. Option B, option C, option D. Yeah. If nothing works out, at least we will get to know this is not the way of working. So, which means there will be definitely some other way. So that is what we should start bringing up the growth mindset and see how we can get benefit out of it. And any organization, we should start bringing up the mindset shifts if in case you are focusing on the transformation of your whole organization. Rather than focusing on the profit, start focusing on the purpose. Rather than focusing on the hierarchies, start building up the networks. Rather than focusing on controlling your associates, team members, focus on how we can empower them. Rather than going with the fixed plans, see how we can experiment, how we can come up with the different ways of working. Rather than keeping everything to yourself in the form of privacy, see how transparency, bringing up the sharing the vision, roadmap, goal, objectives to your whole organization, to your whole all associates, by bringing in the transparency, how your whole organization can be able to achieve success. This is how we should start bringing up the shift of mindset for the whole organizational transformation. Thanks for taking your time for going through this video. Have a nice day.